Alright, day one, here we go. What can we find? So 1206s were something they were getting together this year, and it goes from way down there all the way over there. So there is a lot of them. Here's the 1950T, 1655, and the Moline G750, 500 Oliver. Here's a Minneapolis Moline A4T 1600. This came before it. Oliver at 2655. It's the mini version. Well, they're the ones that made it. Propane. And there's another one over there. This one's hooked to this one. 6-wheel drive. So it's running electric to run the throttle. How would you even stop that thing? Here's the open station one. Propane again. That propane tank. Should be a Cat 3 on here, I would think. let's check out some
We're so
tents.
excited to have you come here the first day of half century of progress at 2025. We want to just keep talking about safety. Please slow down. You can see a lot
Massey
more
98,
if you drive
1960.
slow. Please slow down.
Okay, on the sign it says the Oliver Court manufactured these tractors for Massey because around that time Massey's big tractor plant had a fire and they couldn't build a large tractor at that time. That's actually, what'd you call it, misinformation or fake news. They just didn't have a big tractor designed at all. They needed one. That's why they had Minneapolis Moline build the 97 for them. So it's a 990. What's different on it? Obviously the sheet metal. It's similar, grill's different. Fenders are the newer 990 style. These lights are different. The seat bottom was the same, but the top, the pan was different. This one has two shifters. Looks like. Yeah, high, low, and then the regular 6-speed. Beautiful restoration though. Oh, this was different too. The hood scoop. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. 990. Here's a Farmall 826. Four-wheel drive model. There's that shaft on the side. Under 4050. Here's the International 5288, 160 horse. Here's a McCulloch Kubota. Didn't know they had mowers. International. Here's a Clee track. EN. Lamborghini. Some of these are coming up for auction. A little John Deere. It's like an industrial model. Minneapolis Moline Jets are orchard.
Yeah, he can do that.
Alice Chalmers.
Yeah. 77.
Here's a couple 880s. One's propane. And one is a diesel. Maybe like the Wheatland model. 770 diesel. '99 propane. This is the old 99. I don't know if that's dealer or farmer conversion. I'm not sure.
Different
be
places
the
over the noon hours. Here in
The old one, original, no independent PTO on here.
Here by the AT&T building, up and down will be food vendors.
So you push the clutch in and it'll stop the PTO.
And then after lunch, we will try to announce
Oliver updated this to the Style 99 before the Supers came out in 52.
exhibitors that are already not out in the field. There will be
Super 88 LP.
this afternoon at 2 and 4 o'clock at Premier Entertainment.
Super 77. Orchard. From the Orchard models, he had his cowling. Muffler went down like this so it wasn't sticking up. Headlights down here. So branches don't grab it. Everything was pushed down so you kind of duck down behind the cowling. So steering column was down, seat was down. And here is a 66 wide front. Here's a Lamborghini crawler wheel tractor. Oliver 70. Painting like an American flag. Six speed, so it's a newer one. Throttle is up on the steering column. The exhaust, typically you'd have one. A lot of people would convert it to two because it had an opening on both sides. And it's supposed to run a muffler in there and come up like this with a 90-degree elbow. A lot of people just put two out of the hood. There's a little HG. The rubber pads to run it on blacktop. BF Avery crawler. Rubber pads again. And an OC4 crawler with a different style engine. I don't know what it is. Looks like a car engine. This is got the Fleetline grills. It's a V8 in there. Looks like they fit it in there pretty good. Alice Chalmers 180. A 190 diesel. High crop with the clearance. It's an 1850 cockpit. As you know, same as the Olivers. The Perkins diesel. Here's a Cleatrack military of some sort. A Cockshit 1600. This is a sumac red in the cream colored. gas model. All are about cost shed in 62. 1600 was the part of the 100 series, 1800 and 1900. Alice Chalmers 200.
Yeah, it looks
1650 LP high crop. That's a rare one.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have to do some research and see where they're getting now. Okay. Okay. Yep. Thanks.
1950 T 4-wheel drive. The T replaced the 1950 with the GM. The T was a Waukesha turbo, and it gave him a little bit cheaper option. Here's what it eventually would have replaced. It's this being a 1900, but that was before the 1950. General Motors, third owner. There's a bore on these. 453 Detroit. And is it a series? It would be a series B or C because it's 4-wheel drive. There's only a few A's I think that had the 4-wheel drive that had the checkerboard decal. It's probably a B because it's got the old style. Don't have tilt steering yet, and that was on the C's. And then the filter for the hydraulics was in the front on the C's, I believe. Yeah, and here it's right here. There's a 2255 with the 3208, so it's a newer engine. And it's pulling a, is that a 10 bottom? Yeah, 10 bottom. On land hitch. Just have a Cat 3 point, 6,000 pound lift. And that clevis, probably just to move it, because I don't think you'd plow with that one. I wouldn't. Turf tires in the front. Close center hydraulics in these. Change the dash. Change the styling. You know, had the headlights up here. Bunch of other improvements on them. Here's another 1900 4-wheel drive. This one's got a Cummins conversion. And is this a B or a C? This is a C because they moved the throttle to the dash here because the steering wheel was tilt and telescoping. So they moved it there. So that's how you can kind of tell from a distance. And then see the hydraulic filters here. I think the C's had a bigger hydraulic pump. The 1955 turbo Waukesha. I think it's a 310. Replaced the 1950T. So updated styling and dash and closed center hydraulics. Another 1955. A lot of these are going to be at auction. There's a mini Jetstar Orchard. see what their orchard looks like in the back here. I don't really see any gauges. But yeah, duck down. Here's an Alice standard model of some sort. It's like an older one. Farmall Super M. And John Deere Industrial. Here's a truck of some sort. It's powered by that chain. Looks like. $52.88. Bring it around the back. Too many people. $54.88.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. They were They were
Otherwise, I mean, you'd end up with $50.88. Most popular of the 5 Series 88 tractors.
And you gotta have a procedure so that you do them in the right order.
The last iteration of
50 this one here, he was learning the
long line of row
procedure.
crop tractors.
Why is it longer? What you do first and second.
The 1206.
Well, it's different. It's different than that. A little bit, not much.
First IA tractor to deliver over 100 horse.
But it wasn't much more than TA.
First time turbocharged. Your turbo would be up here. Right there. There's 7288. These pivot in the middle. $74.88. Two of them. $19.81. So that's $74.88.
And you know the problem is with the early series, one of the big mistakes they made was you couldn't put the wheels on that horse.
Is that 1985? $74.88. Who's that? $72.88. 1985. $40.30 John Deere.
They make a 43, yes.
Yeah, I think they made a 43. Less than they did these.
$15.68. Case 930. Little John Deere Industrial. Model BI. broom corn.
I want to check out their broom.
Make it into brooms. 65, and 75. That's all the models of the lawnmowers. 1972. Built by Jacobson. For Oliver. Here's a 1960 440. Pretty much the same as the Super 44. They changed the colors, left the sheet metal alone, reinforced the frame, small little things. The bracket's a little bit different here. Running 2 runs, production runs, 1960 and 62, 140 cubic inch Continental. About 25 PTO horsepower. Built at Charles City plant because the South Bend plant 2, where it was being built, was closed and sold in 58. There were about 700 built, 560, 1960, and 200 in 1962. So pretty hard to find tractor. Here's the Almond Auctions booth. Scale model here. Hard part 1224. Founders of the tractor industry. 1224 would be 12 horsepower drawbar, 24 belt. Where the exhaust is. Here's a 1655 four-wheel drive. Final 1206 diesel. 4020 diesel. Another 1655 4x4. And another 4020. Here's a 1955 beautiful restore. Replace the 1950T turbocharged Waukesha. A John Deere 730 Farmall 400. Little Alice WC. Alright guys, so this is going to be day 1. John Deere 730 propane. $5010 diesel. 5020 diesel, International 1066 4-wheel drive, a 6030 John Deere, International 1466 4x4, 4020 diesel 4x4, Not 4x4. Or is it? I don't know what's going on there. It has to be hydraulic powered or something. Oliver 1755. Place to 1750. No surprise there. Here's a Oliver 880 Tampo roller. You'd use that for making roadways. You could fill this with water, ballast, and it would be heavy. That is a big tank. Here's some scale models. Thunder 700 and a Oliver 2255. Here's a Steiger Cougar 2, powered by a cat. As you know, they got rolled up into case. So you have case Steiger models. Here's an older one. Steiger 2200. And a Panther SM 325. Here's a Massey Ferguson 98 on one side, and it's painted to look like the Oliver on the other side, even though it should be like a 990. It's still cool. And then there's a Massey 98 in the other tent too. Here is a Super 99 Lugmatic. It says only 16 were built with a torque converter. This is one of only 2 or 3 known to exist. And I didn't know that they had one in the Super 99, even experimenting. It makes sense if they would, because they had to have been playing around with it before they introduced the 990, you would think, or 995. So let's go see if it looks like the 995. I don't know if they have one here though. They only have a 990. There's 3 of these here, a third Massey 98. Wow. This one's original. It's got patina. As I said in the other one, the seat was different. The bottom part was the same, but Massey's seat is a higher seat. The lights were different. It had these, it was like shades. Obviously the grills and the looks. Put a wood ornament here, a scoop. They were built by Oliver for Massey Ferguson, not because there was a fire at their plant, but because they didn't have a big tractor at the time. Minneapolis Moline built their 97 until Massey got caught up in their designing and introduced their own. Do you like Oliver tractors and equipment? If so, you can show me support by hitting that thumbs up or thumbs down if you didn't like it. Leave a comment. Consider subscribing. It's free. YouTube will notify you when I release a new video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.